I survived and stuff.
It was back in '94, and it was probably the most emotional and dramatic part of my life. It was after I bought my first house, and I had just graduated college. It was Christmas Eve, and I had to go get some dip for some late night, last minute Christmas shopping, and so I got my friend Yeorge, and we were just going to go shopping. And I realized when we were getting out to the car, when I got my friend Yeorge, there was just something not right. And I told Yeorge about it, and he just said not to worry about it, so we got in the car and left. About half an hour later, we come back from the store. There was no dip. They didn't have any dip. I don't know why they didn't have any dip. But, the door to our camper out in front of my house was opened. It was left open. So I go to go check it out. And the windows, the curtains on the windows, were left open. And there were mud prints in there. So I asked Yeorge if he went in there before we left or not, and he said no. So we go back inside, and I look to my left, and there's this man standing there. And me and Yeorge just took off running.
So it was a little bit before Christmas. It was Christmas Eve, and this friend Will, we've been friends for a pretty long time, and he calls me up, right, and just says, "All right, hey, it's Christmas Eve. We got this party at 7. Make sure you're ready for that. But we gotta go to the store, and we gotta get some dip. Gotta get some dip because that's what we were told to get, dip. Anyway, so we're headed off in the car to Dollar General. We're off to Dollar General, and I don't know. Will he seems kind of weird, you know, not like himself. Like I don't know. He's just acting a little funny, you know, as if superstitious or something like that. Anyway, we get to the store. We go in there. We look around. There's no dip. How can they not have dip on Christmas Eve? So we're gonna look like fools showing up at this party without dip. But anyway, we go back home. Well, not my home, but we go back to Will's house, and he just got this camper out beside his house. Yeah, he's acting superstitious. It's kind of weird, but I mean, anyway, we're riding back home in the car with no dip, and we get back to Will's house, and he has this camper out by the garage of his house, and we look over there, and all the curtains are like wide open. They're wide open, and the door's open. You know, and so we're like, all right, that's weird. Will, were you in the camper? And he's like, yo, and he doesn't know, not yo. He says no, and he's like, Yeorge, were you in the camper? And I said no, I was not in the camper. So we're kind of like freaking out here, and so we walk over to where the camper is, and we look in the camper, and we see this guy there, and that was scary right there. I mean, I don't even feel comfortable talking about it. It was just this guy was standing in my best friend Will's camper.
And so Yeorge turns around, and Yeorge struck him hard. Yeorge was afraid of nothing, no one, not anything or anyone. So he struck him, hit him hard right in the face. It didn't necessarily land the right way. Kind of landed off, like he curled in his palm. But Yeorge, being a black belt, corrected that and hit him again. But he missed. And the man let Yeorge go. And Yeorge came running back to me. I gave him a hug, a little pat on the back, and said, Yeorge, we are getting out of this alive.
Will's like, I don't know what to do, man. So, I mean, being the hero that I genuinely am, day to day, I figured, okay, come on, Yeorge, time to take care of the problem here. So, you know, I gathered up my pride, so to speak, and I ran out to the camper. I left Will behind because he was scared. At that point, Will was just kind of sitting there blubbering like a baby. And I see this guy. We're like face to face. If this was his face, I'm right here, and we're face to face. Anyway, I think that Will did mention that I am a black belt. That's not exactly true. Will has a weird disease in his left eye, dealing with the retina deteriorating over time, and he tends to get his colors mixed up. So what he saw as black is actually a white belt, which some call beginner level. But anyway, you know, I did about a year and a half of karate when I was 7. So I mean, I basically knew what I was doing for the most part. So I go in there and the guy's standing there, and so I wound up and I chopped him, just struck him right in the neck, and at that time I fell over and my eyes closed, and a couple seconds later I opened them on the ground, and here I am on the ground, and I'm like, okay, I just struck him, but I guess he deflected it, and then I bounced off and then landed on the ground or something like that. I don't know, it was weird. And like I said, he's a big fella. Anyway, so I got up again, and this time, I chopped him again, but I didn't fall down.
A little pat on the back. And said, Yeorge, we are getting out of this alive. Today. And we are going to that party. And we are bringing dip. Because they need our dip. There were chips at the party. And they needed to be dipped in something. Some good onion dip. The French kind. So I tell Yeorge, we need to come up with a plan. So I tell Yeorge, you need to go out there, distract him. I'll get in the van, you'll run out, I'll open the door for you, and we're going. Go get some dip. So Yeorge goes out there. Yeorge goes out there with the most courage I've ever seen in anyone. He was like George Washington walking out there. He was my Captain America. Walked out there. Distracted the man. Yeorge wrapped his legs around the man. Straddled him. And started locking lips with the man. The man was so distracted, he threw up. He vomited. But took off. Did what he had to do. Got in the van. And we got some dip. We got the dip for the party. We got it. We got the dip. I survived because of my instinct. Because of the little thing in my brain that told me, you are not dying today. Because of anyone, anything. Nobody's going to kill me today. Will is not dying today. Neither is Yeorge. That's why I survived.
And it didn't work. It didn't do anything, really. He just kind of stood there. So that's when I tripped him with my foot. I kind of like slid under his feet with my foot, and he fell on the ground, and he was about to jump back up, but I jumped on top of him like that. And Will mentioned that I may have kissed him to distract him. I wasn't really making out. I mean, I didn't enjoy it, of course. I was just doing my job to protect Will, my best friend. And I didn't really. But anyway, we got out of there alive. I did what I had to protect my friend Will, which at that time was blubbering like a baby. And so after that, I ran back to Will and he assured me with some reassuring words that we were gonna get out of there alive, and that we were gonna get our dip. We were gonna the French onion kind of dip, and we were gonna head out to that party safely. I survived because, you know, I took care of the situation. I karate chopped the guy. I may have, and you know, that's really why I survived. I took care of the things I had to keep the people that I love safe. You know, and that's why I'm here today. I'm a very lucky man to get out of that situation alive. I'm alive.